There is a surprising amount of people who go on with their everyday lives hiding their superpowers. They could be your friends, a member of your family, or you may just have some untapped potential. If the real-life Spider-Man can walk among us and scale some of the tallest buildings in the world, then who says there can't be more superpowered people? He's not the only character whose powers crossed over from fiction and into real life. If you're wondering what type of superpowers a human can have, then keep watching. From levitating monks to the real-life Daredevil, these people have real superpowers. But before we get started, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. Number 15. Monk that can levitate. Walking on water is impossible, isn't it? Meet Shi Li Liang, aka the man who could walk on water. Correction, not walk, but run. Shi Li Liang is a Shaolin monk. In 2015, cheering crowds gathered to watch him cross a river using nothing but his balance and a rope. With his arms outstretched, he sprinted over 400 feet on the water's surface, breaking his own record, which was 393 feet. His secret? Patience. He also told reporters, "You need to be fast, but you should only take small steps." Number 14. Mr. Eat-All. You've heard about Man of Steel. Well, what about a man with a stomach of steel? Michel Lotito doesn't have to fight villains, he could just eat their weapons. Also known as Monsieur Mange-Tout, which means Mr. Eat-All, Lotito discovered his superpower at the age of 16. Around that time, doctors found out that he had exceptionally thick lining in his stomach and intestine that allowed him to consume sharp metals. His digestive system was also super powerful, meaning he could easily digest basically anything except for soft foods. It's believed that just between 1959 and 1997, Lotito consumed nearly 9 tons of metals. His most impressive feat of strength was eating an entire plane, divided into meals, of course. If you thought this was impressive or slightly bizarre, check out this next superhero. Number 13. Magnet Man. Not a hero we necessarily looked for, but definitely a hero we need. Liu Taolin has a very interesting nickname. He's known as Magnetic Man or Mr. Magnet. Why? Because he had the ability to stick any metal object to his body. His story gained so much buzz that Malaysia's University of Technology studied him. Ultimately, they determined that his skin just really had high levels of friction, which made a suction effect. Mr. Magnet took advantage of his powers and performed in charity events. His accomplishments include sticking metal objects that weigh up to 2 kilograms each and 36 kilograms in total. Oh, he could also pull a car. Number 12. Iceman. If you're familiar with Marvel's Iceman, DC's Icicle, DC's Killer Frost, or even Queen Elsa, then you'll love Wim Hof. Wim Hof's super abilities aren't strictly ice-related. He's a master of meditation. Hof, also known as Iceman, practices Tumo, a technique only mastered by Tibetan Tog monks that allows him to control his body's temperature. Using this method, over the course of 5 hours and 25 minutes, he ran a half marathon over 200 kilometers north of the Arctic Circle. Temperatures there are nearly -20 degrees. After that, climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in just 2 days in nothing but his shirts was an easy challenge. Hof also broke the record for the longest ice bath by submerging himself in ice for 1 hour, 13 minutes, and 48 seconds. Number 11. The French Spider-Man. Spider-Man does exist, alright? He's just French. Meet Alain Robert, also known as the French Spider-Man. Unlike the superhero, he wasn't bitten by a radioactive spider to gain his superpowers. Alain Robert's powers are his ability to climb hundreds of feet into the sky without any safety equipment. In broad daylight, he exceeded expectations and defied death multiple times, hoisting himself up structures such as the Empire State Building, the Eiffel Tower, the Four Seasons Hotel in Hong Kong, the Canada Square Tower, and Huron Tower. If Spider-Man does exist, does someone like Aquaman also exist? Keep watching to find out. Number 10. The Girl with X-Ray Eyes. Natasha Demkina doesn't think her powers are anything super, but the public would beg to differ. What Demkina calls her medical vision, the rest of the world calls X-ray vision. When she was 10 years old, she gave her mother a shock when she innocently told her she could scan her body and see all her mother's organs. From there on out, many doctors tested her ability and found that she could supposedly describe in detail the location of the organs, their color, and if there is any damage or diseases. The Discovery Channel even hosted Demkina on a special called The Girl with X-Ray Eyes. Number 9. Aquaman. Is this the real-life Aquaman? Well, let's find out. All Dave Mullins has to do to break world records is take a single breath. That one breath allows him to dive underwater and swim 244 meters in just 4 minutes and 2 seconds. Mullins' passion is free diving and, luckily for him, he's able to perform challenges such as diving 108 meters without needing specialized equipment, not even an oxygen mask. Number 8. The Man Who Can't Catch AIDS. Stephen Crone's superpower is a little more unique than others. His claim to fame goes further than his relation to Burl Bernard Crone, for whom Crohn's disease is named. Now, Stephen Crone is famous for being the man who can't catch AIDS. Crone had a genetic mutation that made him completely immune to AIDS and many forms of HIV. Number 7. Astro. If this was the late 1880s, you would have seen ads of Claude Alexander Conlin, also known as Alexander the Great, or Astro. Colin was allegedly a master of his trade, which apparently was psychic ability, clairvoyance, and predicting the future. His ads usually said, "Astro, the world's greatest clairvoyant, the man who knows. He calls your name aloud, tells you just what you called for without asking a question, tells everything you want to know, who is true and who is false to you, names whom and when you marry, settles lovers' quarrels, reunites the separated, locates absent ones, shows how to gain the love of those you most desire, even though miles away, how and when to invest to obtain the best results. Whatever your trouble, he can help you to success, wealth, and happiness." Number 6. The Lion Whisperer. Kevin Richardson's powers are incredibly unique. He's an animal whisperer, a big cat's whisperer to be exact. He has fed, slept next to, and lived with ferocious lions who treat him as part of their pride. And get this, he's self-taught. His relationships with apex predators such as African lions, striped and spotted hyenas, and black leopards never cease to baffle the public. Number 5. The Man Who Never Sleeps. College students would go to the ends of the earth to get this man's superpower. Tai Ngoc has been awake for over 43 years. Born in 1942, Ngoc supposedly suffered from a fever that led to him acquiring the one-of-a-kind ability to spend the next 4 decades without getting a wink of shut-eye. Technically, his gift is the world's worst case of insomnia, but believe it or not, he's still mentally sound. He says he carries 2 110-pound bags of pig feed down a 3.1-mile road every day. By October 2006, he reported that he was starting to feel like a plant without water due to the lack of rest. Number 4. Strongest Teeth. A true hero isn't measured by the size of his strength, but by the strength of his teeth? The award for strongest teeth goes to Radhakrishnan Velu, possibly the strongest man in the world. Velu is capable of using his teeth to pull literal trains. In 2003, he pulled 2 KTM commuter trains whose added weight was a mind-blowing 260.9 tons over a distance of 4.2 miles along the rails at Kuala Lumpur railway station. Number 3. Superhuman memory. Stephen Wiltshire's photographic memory is one for the history books. He surpasses even the fictional Mike Ross in his memorizing abilities. When he was a child, Wiltshire was diagnosed with savant syndrome. He later went on to become an architect capable of recreating any landscape given a few seconds of looking at it. One helicopter ride of cities such as Rome, Tokyo, New York, Hong Kong, and Dubai is enough to perfectly recall their skylines. He also once recreated the exact number of the Pantheon's columns in a panoramic drawing of Rome. Number 2. Baba Vanga. Born Vangelia Pandeva Gusterova, Baba Vanga has attracted the world's interest, including movie stars, Russian Tsars, and many authors who raced to write her story. Baba Vanga was blind since her early childhood. According to her, a tornado once lifted her up in the air and threw her in a nearby field. When she was found, her eyes were closed shut with sand and dust. Following this, she was able to make insanely accurate predictions and foretell prophecies. It wasn't until 1997 that millions of people started to claim they witnessed her paranormal abilities. Among her predictions are the Chernobyl disaster, the exact date of Stalin's death, the breakup of the Soviet Union, the September 11 attacks, and tensions with North Korea. Number 1. Real-life Daredevil. Many superhero films and TV series are called too unrealistic. As it turns out, one story in particular isn't that far-fetched. If you heard about Ben Underwood's story before reading the Daredevil comics, you would have sworn they were based on him. See, Underwood was blinded by cancer as a toddler. However, growing up, he developed an unusual ability that only creatures such as dolphins, whales, and bats have. He can virtually see using echolocation. He clicks his tongue, and the sound waves that bounce off the objects around him allow him to be aware of his environment and easily navigate it. He can rollerblade, skateboard, and participate in martial arts, so maybe there is such a thing as a real-life superhero with superpowers. What did you think of these people with real superpowers? If you could have any superpower you wanted, what would you choose? One of the ones we mentioned, or something else? Share your proposal in the comments section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Fact Monkey so you don't miss an upload and you can enjoy the excellent content we send your way.